Hello everyone, welcome to SlipjointSawyer. Today we're going to be going over my buck knives collection, so just another one of them sub-collection videos. Just going to have a quick brief overview of each of my buck knives, quick talk about each one, which one I like the most, etc, etc. But anyway, let's jump straight into it. So the first knife here I have is the Buck Canoe. So this is a Chinese made buck, and I believe it's the 389. Yeah, so it's a 389 Canoe. You can see you have the sort of laminated wood scales there with brass, is it brass? It looks like brass or nickel silver bolsters and pins. You have the Buck logo stamped there on the shield. Really nice fit and finish on this piece. It's a tiny bit of gapping on the back, but nothing major. Sort of pretty uniform all the way down the middle there. Standard canoe pattern, so you have the main spear blade just there, or drop point. Nice choke up on that. This is the 420 J2 steel, and then you have the pen blade on the other side. You can see you have China there. No half stops, and you do have the sort of elongated bolsters in the shape of a canoe, so they hide the tangs. So there's no way that's going to sort of catch on your pockets. That's sort of a really nice feature of the canoe. Have the tang stamp there. You've got Buck 389 and then the date code, and then just plain on this side. So you have a nice sort of satin hollow grind finish on the blades, nice clean nail neck, and a really nice grind on these. So there's the first one there, the Canoe. Next up we have their sort of medium Stockman. So this is like the 373. Yeah, 373 Stockman. Again, you have the laminated wood. Really nice fit and finish on this one. The most minimal of gaps down here, but it's flush. There's nothing to catch your fingers on. All very sort of smooth, hafted over really nicely. And if you do notice on the Buck Stockmans, you do have 3 back springs, so you don't have to have that interlocking blade where they're sort of cammed against each other. So each blade has its own spring. So you have the clip point blade here, really nice clip point, nice hollow grind, really good edge on this one as well. Pretty uniform all the way across on both sides. You have the Buck tang stamp there, 373, and then the date code. Nice clean nail nick and subtle swedge. Then you have the sheep's foot in the middle. No swedging or anything on this blade, just a nice standard sheep's foot blade. Nice clean nail nick. And just no tang stamps, just a nice clean blade overall. Locks up nicely. Nice little snap on the close. And then the final blade, you have the spay blade. Again, hollow ground. Pretty even and consistent grind over there. No tang stamps, anything like that, just a nice clean nail nick. And again, locks up really nicely, and a nice snap on the close as well. Really do like the medium Stockman. I think it's a really nice sort of size, nice pocket knife. So there we go, there's the 373. There's also a Chinese made one. Next up, the 371 Stockman. So this is just the larger version of the 373. Again, this is Chinese made. You can see pretty good fit and finish on the back springs. Maybe the most sort of minimal of gapping again, but it's all flush. There's nothing to sort of catch your finger on. All sort of rounded off nicely. There's no rough edges. Tangs could maybe be rounded over a little tiny bit better, but they're not sharp to the point where you're going to cut yourself. You're just aware that they're there. Again, that laminated wood, nice clean transitions. Does sort of swell out into the middle on these Buck Stockmans, which I really sort of like. Gives you that nice grip in the middle of the knife. Buck logo stamped in on the shield there. And on the reverse, again, that laminated wood, stainless pin, brass pin, brass pin. Transitions are excellent. It's all really smooth and really well done. So you have the larger clip point blade there, and you have the Buck 371 stamped in with the date code again, and a really nice lock up on this blade. And then you have the sheep's foot blade. Again, nice and clean, no swedging or anything like that, just a really nice working blade. Nice clean nail nick, nothing on the tang stamp either side. And a really nice uniform grind as well. And then finally on this one, you have the spay blade. Pretty much identical in shape and everything to the 373, just on a larger scale. You see again, nice nail nick, no swedging, and a pretty reasonable grind on that one. A bit heavy on the tip maybe, but still come pretty sharp out the box, so nothing to complain about. Nice sort of snap on that as well. There we go. That's the 3 sort of Chinese made bucks I have, and then the last 4 are all sort of USA made bucks. So we'll start with this one. We'll go to the modern. So we have, this is the buck 250 Saunter. This is one I recently did an unboxing on my channel and did sort of a full review of. I think it's a really great sort of work knife. It does sort of remind me a bit of a Canoe, but also a copperhead. You can kind of see that in the handle shape. It has this really grippy, nice black micarta scales. And then you have the buck logo stamped into the pivot there. And as this is a modern knife, you do have T8 and T6 construction. Nice lanyard loop there at the end, made it a bit easier when I put it into a slip to pull out, as it's quite, you know, it's not much to grab onto, that little pin. But everything's smooth. Back springs are really good. Maybe there's a little bit of gapping here, but nothing major. I'm sure if I tighten those 2 screws up, that would sort of solve that. You can see from the round tang, there's no half stop. You do have this long pull to open the blade, and a really nice snap on the open. So you can see there, you got the buck logo laser etched with the 250 Saunter logo there as well. Did put my own grind on this one. It came a little bit uneven, but 600, took it up to 600, stropped it a bit, and it's like a hair popping razor right now. And this does have the Boss heat treatment on 154 cm steel. You can see that really nice satin grind as well. You can see the grind lines in there. And a nice sort of subtle swedge, which I really do like. I do enjoy a swedge when they're really sort of, you know, you can see them a lot and they're really low down. I think it's a bit much, but the subtle swedge on this is really nice, quite tastefully done. You can see you can get a full sort of 4-finger grip on there. You can sort of use this as a finger choil, but there's not enough ramp for me really to use that. So I would normally use this in the pinch grip, and then my other 3 fingers would grab that way. But another great sort of knife from Buck. Really enjoy this knife. This is one I carry a hell of a lot as a work knife. Just think it's a fantastic idea and really well executed from Buck. Next up we have, this is the 301 Stockman. So pretty much identical to the 373, but this is American made, so it's made in the US. You can see again, you've got the 3 back springs to support the 3 separate blades. You can see fit and finish is pretty well done as well. Maybe the tiniest gapping up here at this end, but it's all smooth. Again, nothing sharp. You have the sort of saw cut, I believe it's Delrin, black Delrin scales on this. Please correct me if I'm wrong. You have the hammer knocking a knife through a bolt on the shield. You have the nickel silver bolsters and pins. And then you have the 420 HC blade steel, same as you'd get on the 110 and 112 and most of the Buck line. You have Buck 301 there and the date code, and then USA to tell you it's USA made. And I don't know about you, but I think this is the best looking clip point blade I have in my collection. It's just a mix between classy and a work knife. It's just everything about this blade just makes you want to carry this knife all the time. But you can see you have like a sort of a saber grind with a flat at the top and then this really hollow grind underneath. And the edge on this is just perfect. It's really well done. And it is one I carry on a very regular basis. And then we have the sheep's foot blade. Again, that hollow grind, nail nick, and clean tang stamps. Nothing else really on this one, just a nice clean blade. And then we have the spay blade, which to me looks a bit more like a drop point blade. Again, that hollow grind, front and back, and the clean nail nick. Probably my favourite slip joint from Buck. I'm going to go ahead and say that's the best one for me. Next up, we have my favourite locking knife, which is the 112. Pretty much the younger brother to the 110. Not much can be said really about this knife that hasn't already been said. Integral brass bolsters, you have the wooden scales there, the pins, really nice sort of action in the hand, you know, it really fills your hand well. sort of the perfect locking knife for me. I did add a sharpening choil to this just to make it a bit easier for stropping, things like that. You can see the Buck logo stamped there, 112 date code in USA, and I did add this thumb stud for one hand opening, just to make it a bit easier when you know, if you're working, maybe you're holding something with your left hand or your right hand, you can just open it better. You can sort of hold it like that and flip it that way, but I'm always worried the knife's going to fall out of my hand, so I tend to just use the thumb stud. But fantastic walk and torque on this, that classic sort of Buck lock, and really nice sort of retention on that spring, stays in there nicely, no sort of chance it's going to like open in your pocket or anything like that. Just a fantastic knife, really love this one. And finally, a special one in my collection, this is a Buck 110 sent to me by a subscriber, Michael Cav. Thank you very much again for sending this over. I did post a video on this not so long ago, so make sure you go check that out. So you can see just the larger brother to the 112. It has that 420 HC high carbon steel. See, you have there the Buck tang stamp, 110, and the date code with USA. And you can see just that classic Buck clip point design with a nice sort of nearly upswept tip. Buck do a fantastic job on their grinds. Every one I've had has been pretty much razor sharp. Proper working man's knife. Maybe if you're going camping, hiking, and you're going to be out in the wilderness, this is probably the perfect knife for you. A nice sort of versatile blade, and something that's easy to sharpen but holds an edge well. Really do enjoy this knife, and Mike, this will be sort of a forever knife in my collection. This won't be going anywhere. It does hold a special place in my heart, so I really do appreciate that. So there we go, guys. That's the overview of my Buck knife collection so far. Hoping to add more pieces to this collection when I find them, or ones I enjoy. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.